They pinned my arms behind my back so fast I didn't even register what was happening. 1 second, I was sitting there, hoodie, half-zipped laptop. Open mind somewhere between exhaustion and relief, and the next, my cheek was pressed into cold leather and someone was yelling, "Stop resisting," like they needed the whole cabin to hear it. I remember thinking this can't be real. This only happens in videos. Yeah, turns out it happens in real life too. Let me rewind a little because nothing ever explodes without a fuse. The flight was supposed to be boring. Early morning, cross-country premium cabin. I'd paid extra because I was fried mentally and physically. I'd just wrapped up a brutal tech fellowship, 6 weeks of sleeping, 4 hours a night, eating junk, pushing code until my eyes burned. All I wanted was a quiet seat, a drink, and to disappear into my screen for a few hours. I didn't look the part, and that was my first mistake. Gray hoodie, worn sneakers backpack that looked like it came from a college bookstore. No suit, no watch, screaming money, no polished confidence. Just a tired kid who happened to have earned their way into a better seat. I sat down, stowed my bag, opened my laptop, and started cleaning up some code. Muscle memory. Comfort. Normal. That's when the eyes started. You can feel it, you know. That subtle shift in the air when someone decides you don't belong. A woman a few rows back kept glancing at me, then at my seat number, then back at me. Tight smile, crossed arms, judgment already written. She leaned into the aisle and snapped for a flight attendant like she was calling a dog. The attendant came over, and from the jump her tone wasn't polite. It was sharp-clipped, suspicious. "Excuse me, can I see your boarding pass?" Not hi. Not how are you. Just that. I paused, pulled my phone out, showed her the digital pass. She barely looked, didn't scan it, didn't even pretend to check. She frowned and said, "This seat is reserved for premium customers." I laughed a little honestly, not because it was funny, but because I thought it was a misunderstanding. "I am a premium customer," I said. Calm, neutral, the kind of calm you learn when you've had to explain yourself your whole life. She didn't like that. Her jaw tightened. She said digital passes could be fake. Asked where my paper ticket was. When I told her everything was on the app, she sighed like I was wasting her time. Then the woman behind me chimed in. Loud, proud. My husband wanted that seat. They said a VIP had it. That can't be right. She didn't say my name. She didn't say passenger. She said that. Like I was luggage in the wrong place. The attendant crossed her arms and told me to gather my things and move to the back until they sorted it out. That was the moment something shifted in me. Not anger, not yet just this heavy, familiar realization. This wasn't about a seat. This was about how I looked sitting in it. "I'm not moving," I said. Still calm but firmer. "You can scan the ticket. It's valid." She told me not to argue. I told her I wasn't arguing. She threatened security. I told her to call them. That's when she disappeared and came back with the purser. Big guy, broad shoulders, authority voice. He didn't ask me anything. Didn't verify a single detail. She whispered to him, pointed at my laptop, and I watched his eyes change. Suspicion turning into certainty. They decided, right there, who I was. He told me I was suspected of using a stolen ticket and possessing stolen property. Said I could leave quietly or be removed. My hands were shaking, but I asked to call my father. They said no. The attendant reached for my laptop like it was evidence. I grabbed it back, instinctively terrified. She screamed like I'd attacked her. That scream was the match. Suddenly, hands were on me. My arm twisted behind my back, sharp pain shooting through my shoulder. Someone shoved my head down. Plastic zip ties cinched around my wrists, tight enough to make my fingers tingle then burn. "Stop resisting," the purser shouted again, even though I wasn't moving at all. People stared. Someone clapped. Someone filmed. Most did nothing. They dragged me into a jump seat and strapped me in like I was dangerous. Told the captain they had a security incident. Announced we were returning to the gate. I sat there, tears slipping down my face, unable to wipe them away, thinking, this is it. This is how stories like mine end. Quietly. Wrongly. What they didn't know was that the watch on my wrist wasn't just a watch. When the zip ties snapped closed, it triggered a silent alert. Location, audio, automatic recording. Sent straight to my emergency contact, my dad. When the plane stopped and the door opened, the purser leaned in and smirked. "Security's coming," he said. I looked up at him and said, "I don't think it's security." He laughed, asked who my dad was. I told him very calmly that my father had finalized the purchase of the airline's parent company that morning. Right then, through the window, black SUVs rolled up around the plane. The door opened again and the temperature in the cabin dropped. My dad walked in flanked by private security. He didn't yell. He didn't rush. He saw me first, saw my wrists, saw my face. When he knelt down and cut the ties off, his hands were steady but his jaw was tight. That scared me more than anything. He stood up and asked one question. "Who touched my child?" The attendant tried to explain. Called me a thief. Held up my laptop. The woman behind me chimed in again, said I didn't belong. My dad knew her name, knew her husband's company, knew exactly how intertwined their money was with his. That's when the room collapsed. He told them he owned the plane, the fuel, the gate, the laptop. He canceled the flight, called the real police, told the attendant to sit down and wait. When I opened my laptop and played the recording, there was nowhere left to hide. The grabbing, the lies, the fake scream, clear as day. They were arrested on the spot. The video went viral that night. Millions of views. People arguing whether justice should depend on who your parents are. Fair question. 6 months later, we were in court. I was older, harder, still carrying the scar on my wrist. I told the judge how it felt to do everything right and still be treated like a threat. They cried. The judge didn't care. Prison sentences, real ones. A year later, I stood on a stage launching the product I built from that moment. Technology that records truth when power tries to erase it. Witness mode. Because trust isn't enough. Proof matters. This isn't a revenge story. It's an accountability story. About how fast assumptions turn into violence and how dangerous it is to bet that someone else has no power. So let me ask you this. Who was right? Who was wrong? And how many times have you seen something like this happen and said nothing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue with me. Share your own story. And if you're still here, you already know. Like, subscribe, and tell me, what would you have done if you were on that plane?